Okay, welcome to today's program. Today is what? What's the date?
The 18th.
18th of Thursday, the 18th of what?
August.
August 2016. So I do that because at the beginning I want people to know, because this is on YouTube. This is broadcast live throughout the world right now.
Okay.
And it will be on YouTube. So 100 years from now, people go back and they can watch this. Your grandchildren can watch this 100 years from now. And so they'd be kind of curious, well, when was that? Right? So I always start out with the date. And how was the weather today?
Hot.
Too hot.
Too hot? Did you know that July was the hottest month ever recorded in the history of them recording temperature?
No, I always thought it was August.
No. So last July, this last month, of all of the months in history since they've been recording, since
So
the
this
late
July,
1800s.
This July 2016 was the hottest.
Hottest July
Well, July
on
was.
record. Hottest
was.
July on record. And it broke the record. The hottest July on record before that was what?
Last year?
Yeah, last year. So there's something about global warming.
Yeah.
The big question that's being debated is not whether it's global warming, it's whether humans are causing global warming. Everybody knows that it's going up. So the people who say no, we don't have global warming, really are saying humans aren't the cause of global warming. It's the natural thing. So the Earth about every 10,000 years goes through cycles. So there was the Ice Age. Ever hear of that? The Ice Age? What was the movie?
Ice Age.
Ice Age, right. So the Earth goes through ice ages, and there weren't really that many humans around.
True.
So some people are saying, okay, there's global warming, but it doesn't mean it's humans causing it. Other people are saying it is humans causing it. So we don't know definitively right now. And even if it is humans, maybe we aren't going to be willing to do what we need to do to fix it, to reverse that. Okay, so I am with a school called Larson Training Centers. Larson Training Centers. We've been in California since 1989, and we've been operating here since 2013. We are a post-secondary school. What does that mean?
After high school.
After high school, correct. Post-secondary is after high school. So that's what we are, and we teach people to do jobs that are skilled, and they are administrative. What's that? Marjorie, what's administrative? What's an administrative job?
Enrolling.
Okay, that's an example. What else? DJ, what's another example?
What?
Administrative.
Yeah.
Training.
Administrative position.
So like teaching maybe?
Not really.
Keeping track.
Sort of. The people out here are administrative. They
Keeping
help the
track.
business run. So at a school, the people in the front office, that's the administrators. The people in the classroom, the teachers, they're operations. So like if it's a pizza parlor, what's the business of a pizza parlor?
Sell pizzas.
Make pizza, right? So the teachers are like the pizza makers. The administrators are the people who do everything that needs to be done so they can be making pizzas. So we do that. We do accounting. What's that?
Keeping up with money. Keeping up with the income that comes in.
Yeah, good. So it has to do with counting the money. Money in, money out. So, and it's not all about being a bookkeeper. You know, there's payroll clerks, there's inventory control, there's a lot of things that have to do with accounting that are not bookkeepers or accountants. We do customer service. What's that?
Answering phone calls of concerned customers.
Okay, so hold on. Customer service, say again?
Answering questions and assisting concerned customers.
Yeah, so in a business, customer service is dealing with customers in addition to the people who might normally do that. So in a restaurant, some people might say that the waiters are customer service,
Yeah.
that the cook is the operations guy, okay? So another way to look at it is all businesses have 4 parts: admin, customer service, operations,
And accounting.
no,
Oh.
close, finance,
Okay.
okay? Now, we don't do finance, we don't teach finance. So accounting is in here, it's in part of administration.
Okay.
Okay, it's counting the money that they bring in.
Okay.
My undergraduate degree, my college degree, was in finance. And in your first day of finance class, so I have 5 daughters and 1 son. I have 5 daughters and 1 son. So when my phone, and they're young, 8th grade, high school. Well, I have 2 that are older, but so when that sound on my phone goes off, that means it's one of my kids. So I have to look at it. So finance starts with the question of what is money? And how do we get it? So if we want to start a business, let's say we wanted to start a pizza parlor, we need money to start the pizza parlor, right? So where could we get the money?
Administration.
No, where could we get the money to start our pizza parlor?
Probably like a loan or something.
Loan, where else? Savings,
Yeah.
okay, where else?
Working.
So savings,
Oh, well, yes, savings.
where else? Family and friends. Hey, I'm going to start this pizza parlor. Would you
Invest.
lend me some money or invest in my business? Where else? How about Kickstarter? One of those things. Where you go out to the world to say, pitch in. Okay. So we don't teach finance, even though my undergraduate degree is in finance, because it's just kind of, when you start with what is money, so if I say to you, Marjorie, what is money?
What is profit?
Money is, what they call it, a debt payer or something like that. Money pays your bills, your debts.
So, we could talk for a long time about what is money. You could say it's little green pieces of paper, right? You could say it's these metal coins. You could say if it was back in the old days and you're on an island in the South Pacific, it would be little shells, certain type of shells. But it ultimately comes down to money is what money does. And that's a whole big discussion in itself, okay? We don't do that. We do admin, accounting, customer service, and we don't do operations. So what's operations?
Operations is what makes the company run.
Yeah, it's what the business does. So if I say, this is a carpet cleaning business, what are the operations? What do you say, DJ?
Those are the people that go out and clean the carpet.
Clean carpets. If I say it's a pizza parlor, what are the operations?
Those the ones who make the pizza.
Making pizza is what we do. If I say it's a school,
Teachers.
what are the teaching? Okay, so the operations is what it does. And even though 80% of all businesses are the same, the operations part is different in all of them. So would you rather go to McDonald's or In-N-Out?
In-N-Out.
Okay, but they're both hamburger places, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But are their operations different?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're different.
Fresh.
All businesses are different, even if they're sort of the same, they're all different. Would you rather have a Hyundai or a Kia?
Kia.
Okay, why?
I just like it.
Okay, so Kia is now owned by Hyundai. Would you rather go to Starbucks or Seattle's Best?
I don't drink cold, so I see how it's best.
That's a weird one because I've been to both. So I'll say Seattle's best.
Okay, you say Seattle's Best, okay? Who owns Seattle's Best?
Don't know, but
Starbucks.
You do?
Yeah, they created just because some people say, I hate Starbucks. I'm
Oh,
never
I
going to
hate
go to
Starbucks.
Starbucks. So they said, okay,
All the way around.
we need to create a competitor. So we don't teach operations. Actually, this is not this. This is something different. The fourth thing we do is marketing and sales. And customer service. For us, customer service is part of marketing and sales. Some people say it's part of admin. For us, it's part of sales. So we teach that, customer service. Why would it be part of sales?
Marketing.
Why would customer service be part of marketing and sales instead of admin?
Because customer service is what makes people want to come back. That's when the money there.
Okay, so here's an important thing to write down on your notes. What are the two things that businesses care about?
Making money
And customer service.
and using less, right?
Close.
Getting money in, more money in than going out.
Making money and saving money.
Yeah.
Businesses, for-profit businesses, so real businesses, not non-profit businesses, not government employers, businesses, only care about two things: making money and saving money. That's all they care about. They only hire people because they want those people to make them money or save them money. That's the only reason they hire people. So if you put customer service over here, okay, if you put customer service over here, what are you doing? What part is it in?
Administration.
Yeah, but it's in the save money side.
Yeah.
Okay, it's in the save money side.
So
If customer service over here, it's on the make money side. If your pizza parlor is operation supposed to make you money, yeah. Okay. So we put customer service over here because most businesses would rather have people who make them money than save them money. Because it's easier to make money for a business than it is to save. And well-run businesses, they're saving just about all the money they can. They're pretty efficient. So a lot of places think of waiters as customer service. You're not supposed to make us money, you're just supposed to make sure the customer's happy.
Yeah.
And that's their idea. So businesses that think of the waiters as customer service think that all they have to do is be nice to the customer, give the customer what they want, and they're going to get more money. Other businesses say, no, we want our waiters to make us money. How do you do that?
When you have more customers.
How you get your waiters to make more money? Their appearance, their politeness.
Well, but that's the same as over here. Here's the difference. Say you work in fast food. You work behind the counter. A customer service oriented person would say, hello, nice to see you. Welcome to Jack in the Box. May I take your order, please? And they say, I want this and this and this and blah, 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 blah. And then the customer service person says, is there anything else? No, that's it, thanks. Okay. Okay, that'll be $10. And then you thank you very much. A salesperson will say, hello, welcome to Jack in the Box. May I take your order, please? Or they might say, hello, welcome to Jack in the Box. Would you like to try our new ice cream sandwich? Or we have a special going on right now. Buy this and then you get a free cookie, or you get a cookie for 10 cents, or whatever. Or, hello, welcome to Jack in the Box. May I take your order, please? Great. Hey, how about an ice cream sandwich to go along with your hamburger? Or would you like to supersize that? So that's what salespeople do, is they try to bring in money.
Yeah.
A customer service person just says, is there anything else you'd like? And we are all subject to persuasion, right? If we're having a good day and somebody says, hey, when's the last time you had a root beer float? We make really good root beer floats here. You might say, huh, okay, I'll try one, right? Can you picture yourself doing that? Yeah. But if they didn't ask you and you haven't had a root beer float for a year or 2 years or 5 years, is it likely that you're just going to say, hey, you know what? I haven't had a root beer float for 5 years. I just came to my mind, root beer float.
No.
No, you're not going to do it. So
Thank you, but no thank you.
yeah. So good company, not good. Some companies put customer service and sales, and that's what we do at our school. Others put it over here. The difference between a salesperson and a non-salesperson is salespeople ask, they try to sell. Okay, they suggest things to people that people might want to have. So, you know, if people are in a good mood and they kind of want to celebrate, you might offer them, suggest a root beer float or something else like that. Anyway, so that's what we teach at Larson, and we have a very high place for it. So you're in good hands being here for this, because ultimately, fundamentally, everybody needs to get a job, right? Okay, so those are important things. Now, Marjorie, what are the two things businesses care about?
Saving money and making money.
Saving money and making money. So one of the best ways to get a job if you're in your interview, if they say to you, why should we hire you, Marjorie? What are you going to say?
I'm a good worker. I like to learn. I'm dependable, trustworthy, honest.
Okay, well that's what everybody says. Now, what would you say?
I'm trying to remember what he said last one in this class, but
Right.
I would tell them that, one, I can help you save money by doing this, or I can help you make money by promoting this outside of work, or
Okay.
something that makes you
So-
save the money.
So you're on the target. You're out here then. But you're on the target. You're on the target. What are the two things businesses care about?
Making
Making
and
money,
saving
saving money.
Yeah. So if they say, why should we hire you? Shouldn't you tell them something that they care about?
Yeah.
Do they care about whether you want to learn?
No.
Why should they care about that? They want to make
You're
money.
supposed to say like, I can double your business or something within a
Okay.
couple months.
So now you move them a little bit closer.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
It's all coming back.
Okay. So what you say is, they say, why should we hire you? The answer is, because I'm going to make you more money than anyone else.
That's what it was.
And you got to say it like that. What if I said it like this? Because I'm going to make you more money than anyone else.
They won't believe you.
Why?
Because
You're just shaking your head like, I'm telling you what I'm going to do, but I'm
Whatever.
not going to do it.
I'm just
Okay.
saying something.
Exactly. So you have to say it like, because I'm going to make you more money than anyone else. Now, we had a guy that's in the class I teach in the morning, which is in the prison, by the way, so he's in prison. He went out looking for a job, because at the prison where they are, they get to go look for work. And so he's out looking for a job. He comes across a 7-Eleven. He walks in the 7-Eleven. The manager's in there. He's got his jacket on. He's getting ready to leave. And he says to the manager, I'm out looking for a job. And yeah, I'm looking for a job.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're hiring people. And the guy looked up and he said, why should I hire you? And our guy, whose name is Peter, said, because I'm going to make you, because I can make you more money than anyone else. So the guy looked up, looked at him, to see if he was being sincere. And the guy said, okay, hold on a second. Took off his jacket and he said, come with me. They walked in the back, he interviewed him, and he hired him. Because nobody had said that. So a key thing to know is if you're saying the same thing as everybody else, are you different? Are you different?
No.
Everybody says I'm a hard worker. Everybody says I want to learn. Everybody says I'm dependable. Everybody says all of those things. So do they remember it?
No.
They don't remember it. People don't remember it because if you hear the same thing from all kinds of different people, it doesn't really have any meaning.
So what if you tell them that I can make, and you're sincere about it, and they say, how?
Okay, you want them to say how.
How are you supposed to follow back with that?
Okay, you want them to say how.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but you need to know about that company. There's not one just answer. Exactly. You have to do your research. So what we teach at Larson, we have something called Employment Planning Workshop. Step 1. What is it you really want to do? If you could do anything in the world and money wasn't an object, if you could do something you couldn't tell the difference between work and a play, or work or a hobby, what would you do? Okay, that's sort of sad.
No.
What would you do?
I know what I would do. I just don't. I can't think of the name. But it's like.
Describe it.
It has to do with like flowers and all that. So like you make
Arranging flowers?
No, not arranging them. Like
growing them?
Yeah, but you're like in the genetics.
Okay.
Area.
Okay. So a botanist.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing is, what would you do if you could do anything you wanted? You might say, what would I do? What would I be willing to do for free? If I had to do something 40 hours a week, what would I do for free?
For free, let me see.
Everybody has
I
something.
kind of like, you know, I'm
Everybody
more
has
like
something.
a people person, so I think it'd be like customer service, greeting people as they come
Okay.
and go.
Okay, so you have to ask yourself, what would I do for free, or what would I pay to do? What do I love doing so much I would pay to do it? That's the first thing in our employment planning workshop. What do you really want to do? Too many people think, are conditioned, are told to think the way you think. That's not even an option. I don't have the option to do whatever I want to do. I have to do what's offered to me, what I can get. No, it's not true. And I think I'll convince you that it's not true by the time we're done. So what would you do for free? We call that a calling. Or what would you pay to do? We call that a destiny position. What would you do that you love to do so much? If somebody said you're going to spend 2/3 of your waking hours doing something. 2/3 of the time you're awake is going to be involved in getting ready to do it, doing it, or getting finished doing it. How would you want to spend 2/3 of your life? What would you want to do with 2/3 of your life? Okay,
I
now
guess making people happy.
So in our program, yeah, but it has to be specific.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I have one.
Okay,
I would like to skate around the world for 2/3 of my life.
skate around the world, roller skate, skateboard. Okay, all right. So, and at our place, at our school, we spend a week for people to figure it out, because nobody figured it out. But what were you when you were 7 years old and your teacher said, what do you want to be when you grow up? How long did it take you to think about that?
Split seconds.
Yeah, everybody knew when they were 7.
Yeah.
But as you get older, you keep being told you can't do that, you can't make money, you blah, 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 blah. So we got to go back to those days and say, what do you have to do? Now some jobs, like if you say I want to be an astronaut, some jobs, well, what do you have to do to be an astronaut? Well, you got to go to school and you got to do all these other things. You can't start when you're my age. You got to start really young if you want to do that. But so that's step number 1 at our school. Step number 2, find 3 to 5 companies that do that. So you should write, okay, you are good. Find 3 to 5 companies that do that. So do you think, DJ, there are companies that are interested in hiring people who want to skateboard around the world?
If it's not, I'll make my own.
Do you think there are companies that do that? Okay, that's a good answer, but that wasn't the answer to my question.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are. Because there's so many people. I know I'm not the only one that's had this thought or dream in their head. Because people love to skateboard. Certain people do, and some people take it as a passion. So some people are pro skaters, and some are just freelance skaters who just go around and do their own thing.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure freelance skaters.
So you find 3 to 5 companies that are interested, that hire people to skateboard.
Yep.
How do you find these companies?
You would have to do your research, but you could probably
Well, how?
Just type
Okay, so there's this thing. People used to say it was a fad. I don't think it's a fad because it's been around for a while. It's called the internet.
Yeah.
Okay. You do
I
a
was
Google
thinking-
search.
I was thinking that.
You do a
but I
Google
also was
search.
thinking that.
Okay, what else do you do besides a Google search? Yahoo, not Yahoo, YouTube search. Okay.
I've seen it on YouTube so many times.
Okay, you do research. Or you find the companies, you do, and you use Google Maps to do that. Go to Google Maps, you type in, you have a picture of the United States, you type in skateboard companies, skateboard manufacturers, skateboard promoters, that might be one, skateboard promoters, skateboard competitions, things like that. You find the companies. Then, back to where DJ said that we started this over here, which was what?
Research.
Research. You research these companies. Well, how much do you research them?
I'll research them enough to where I have my own background knowledge about what the companies are, where they were founded from, and how they are now.
What's the question we're trying to answer? What made you say research? What's the question that you brought up when the guy said, "Why should we hire you?" And you said what?
So I can make you more money.
I'm gonna make you not. I can. I can make you more money than anyone else. And then he's gonna say what?
Why?
Not why.
How?
How? Right? That was your question, right? He said, what do you say if he says how? Right? And I said, well, I don't know the answer right now because you have to research the company. You got to know about that company. There's not a blanket good answer. There's not just one answer. You do your research, but how much research do you do? Because what do you have to convince the guy? That you can make them more. So what's the level of research you need to be able to do?
You got to research and compare between the companies that you found.
Well,
Research through which company.
Like, for you to have enough knowledge going into an interview, you would have to be as if the administration part of the company. You have to know like the statistics.
You're overthinking. Okay, so you guys are just barely on this target. You're overthinking. You need to research the company so you know more about the company than the person interviewing you. You don't need to know as much as the founder. If it's a good company, you're not going to be interviewed by the founder initially. You need to know more than about the company than the guy interviewing you. Because imagine this. What's one of the questions they're going to ask you? in the very beginning of the interview?
What you saying? Sorry.
What's one of the first questions they're going to ask you in the interview? Tell me about yourself.
Me?
That's what they're going to ask you.
Yeah.
Hey, Marjorie, tell me about yourself.
That's true.
Thanks for coming down. Tell me about yourself. Okay.
That's true.
Now, what are you going to tell them? Start up here.
What you wanna do?
What are you going to tell them? So first you give them a general thing. So, you know,
I tell them I call them.
here's my education, here's my blah, 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 blah. And then you get into this. This is a business I want to be in. I've always wanted to be in this business. I love this business. And there's 3, whatever the number is, 3, 4, or 5 companies that I want to work for in this business. And you hope he says, well, who else? Because if you name his top competitors, what's he going to think about you?
That you know your work.
Okay, this person said they want to work in this business. They said they did the research on the top 3 companies. And that's why I'm here, because I did my research. This is what I want to do. I did my research. I found out that you're one of the top 3 companies. So I'm interviewing here and at the other 2. We're the other 2. If you say who the other 2 competitors are, he's going to say, wow, that person knows who our competitors are. Huh. Now I have to think of, do I want this person to go work for our competitor? Because if they're good, do I want him to go work there? No, I don't want you to go work at our competitor if you're good. Even if you're not the best person for this job, there might be somebody a little bit better than you for our job, but he's not going to go work over there if we don't hire him.
He don't even know if you went over there first or came there first.
Well, he might ask,
Yeah.
and that would be a good thing to say. Now, so I'm looking, you know, I love this business, interviewing with the top 3 companies in this business, and I did my research. And you want them to ask you a question, what do you know about our company? And you want to lead with something that they don't know, that maybe you found on YouTube. Well, one thing I know is that blah, 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 something that just happened, blah, 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 blah. I know that the president of the company, when he was a little kid, did whatever. He used to make donuts in his mother's kitchen. And he had a passion for donuts. He says, really, I didn't know that. How does he feel about you if he says, really, I didn't know that? What if he realizes that you know a lot about this company? Is he going to think it's good?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you do it the right way. Otherwise, he's going to think you're a stalker.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want that. So we do our research, so we know the company better than the guy interviewing us. Then what we do, we create a plan. Okay? So here's what happens. You have company, your first, second, and third choice. Who do you interview with first? You send out your resume. Who do you interview with first?
Me personally,
Hmm?
I'll go from top, from number 1 to number 3.
Okay. What do you say, Marjorie? Agree or disagree?
I don't know.
Okay, so have you been in a skateboard competition?
1 or 2.
Okay. Have you ever done your thing, whatever it is that you do, your thing, and you got done and you said, oh, I wish I would have done that?
Always.
Okay.
Always.
So why would you want to go here first?
Because that's top. Because I wanted to go to
No,
top.
you don't want to go there first because you know when you go into number 3, when you go the first interview you walk into, you're going to walk out and you say, I wish I would have thought about this. I wish I would have said that. I wish I would have done this. You want to practice and be prepared.
That's true.
Okay. Also, if this guy offers you a job, let's say this is the first one you go to, and they say, when can you start? What do you say?
Today.
No.
Right now.
You're on a roll.
Put me
No.
on payroll right now.
No, because now he might think you're desperate.
I need money.
Yeah, but you don't want to show that. You want them to feel good for hiring you.
A week from today?
Well, you give some date in the future.
Yeah.
They say, we really want to hire you, when can you start?
Next week, Monday.
Okay, so you might say, I can start tomorrow, or I can start immediately. But I mean, can I think about it? You want to say, can I think about it? This is your first interview. You went to number 3, they offer you the position. You want to say, can I think about it? Good companies are not going to say no. They're not going to say no. And you hope that when you have this interview, you already have appointments for these other 2 people. So DJ, let's say you decide to do number 1 last. And you walk into that interview and you have 2 job interviews. You have not an interview, you have a job offer from this guy and this guy. How are you going to feel in this interview?
I'm gonna feel like I'm on top of the world.
Exactly.
But I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna let the interviewer know. Is just like you said. Okay, I can either work for you or I can go work for your competitors.
Well, yeah, but you don't want to say it.
Well, not like that, but you know.
But yeah, you want to
phrases
let them know. I love this business. I interviewed you I researched you and your top competitors. I've already met with the other 2. They both made me an offer. But you're my number 1 choice.
Yeah, you're number 1 choice. So.
They're waiting for me to get back to them. What does he think about you as a person?
You're determined.
Smart.
Yeah, smart, determined.
Okay. Considerate. Right? This is the kind of guy we want working for us. We don't want him just to jump at the first offer. This guy notes that he loves this business. He researched us. He does know our competitors. I asked him questions about our business. He knows a lot about this business. I know things that he doesn't know, but he knew things I don't know. He did the right thing. He interviewed 3 companies, or he already interviewed with these guys. They want to hire him, he says. I tend to believe him because I'm thinking about making him an offer. Well, and he might say, well, what did you say to him? You said, you just told me you had offers from the other 2. Well, what did you say to them? Can I think about it? I said, can I think about it?
Can I think about it?
That's what I said. Can I think about it? Now, as a person, you're at the top of that guy's list. You might not be the most qualified person.
But you're at the top of the list.
You're the guy who really demonstrated they want to work here. You did your research, you did your homework, you interviewed with these, you have these other jobs. So the plan is, who do I interview with first? And when do I start? Step 5, which we were talking about, is the interview. You execute the plan. So first you figure out, who do I want to get a job with? Who do I want to interview with first? Do I send my resume out to all of them at the same time? Do I send my resume to this guy first? How do I do it? What if all 3 of them call back? What if this guy calls back, but I really don't want to see him till last? What do I say? Well, I set an appointment for as far out as I can, because I want to interview. I want to make sure I have interviews set up with these other people. Okay? Then you execute the plan. And then we draw a line. Step 6, the last step. And what's the last step? What's the last step?
After you make your interview with your last.
You're interviewing, you're doing stuff.
Okay. Preparing yourself for your work.
No.
For your job.
No. So the next thing you do is you get a job. Okay? And a job, at our school, job is something you do to pay the bills. It's not your career. Your career is your career. Or it's your calling, or it's your destiny. This is a thing to pay the bills. So let's pretend, Marjorie, you're an actor. Okay, you're going to be in the movies. But you're not in a movie yet. Okay, you're going out doing casting calls, and you're doing interviews, and you're doing stuff. You don't have that. How do you pay your bills? How do you think most actors pay their bills before they get their big break?
Probably like little job here and there.
What kind of job?
Internships.
No. They're waiters. Didn't you know that? Most actors, before they get a contract to do a show or a movie, before their career started, when they don't have any money, they get jobs as waiters. Why?
That helps them to act, to
Practice?
or
How?
By interacting with the customers.
Bingo. Okay? You can role play.
Yeah.
Today I'm going to pretend like I'm from England.
Yeah.
I'm going to pretend like I'm from Germany.
France.
I'm from Alabama. I'm going to talk like Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's what they do. Another reason they do it is because it's easy to quit. Because restaurants are used to high turnover. So when you take the job and say, look, I'm going to be an actor, I'm waiting for my big break, I don't know how long I'm going to work here, they're going to hire you because they like your personality. And they know that acting takes discipline. And you're not going to quit this job unless you get your acting job. Okay, so when I was in law school, what do you think most guys that are going to law school do for a job to pay their bills while they're in law school? Sort of like being a waiter, being a bartender. Why? Because it's easy. You kind of have to have a good memory, right, for all these drinks and people to do things. You need to be able to have conversations with people. What do attorneys mostly do?
Have conversations.
They talk, right?
Yeah.
They're talking in court, they're talking to a judge, they do whatever. And it's a non-mental stress thing. You go to law school all day, you're mentally tired, go work in a bar. What kind of people go to bars? Why do people go to bars?
To relax.
Yeah, because they want to have a good time. Okay? Why do people go to attorneys? Because they have problems. Why do people go to doctors? Because they have... So if you're in law school, a great job is being a bartender at night. Not being a waiter. Being a bartender. So you go get a job until this thing comes in. And if you've got, say, 4 companies that you're working on that you want to get hired at, you have 4 companies, and they're good companies, so that means they're all going to be hiring somebody in the next 12 months. Statistically, how long do you think you might have to wait to get your position? So about 3 months. Okay? So you go get a job for 3 months. And if you have a job, what are you not, DJ? If you have a job, when you're looking for this, when you're interviewing for this, but you have a job, You're able to pay your bills.
Mhm.
What are you not?
Not desperate.
Exactly. You're not desperate. So that's another one right here. You're not desperate. So here's another thing to know, a little tidbit to know. Write this down, don't leave home without it. Let's say they say, how much do you need to start? What do you say? Okay, well, you should know, you did your research, how much that position's paying, right? So you should know. So let's say it says $12 to $18 an hour. What do you say, DJ? They ask you, how much do you want? They're paying, in your research you found out it's between $12 and $18 an hour.
If I'm in there with them, I would tell them negotiable.
He's asking you.
Oh, he's asking me? Oh, $18.
Okay, what do you say, Marjorie?
I want 18.
Okay, no.
I want 18, I want it all.
Okay, no. You say, well, what do I have to do to make $20 an hour? Because I'm going to make you more money than anyone else.
Oh, yeah, I told him that.
Huh?
Said that's true. I told him that.
You always have to ask for something more. Because you don't want them to feel like, let's say they say to you, well, we'd like to start you at $15 an hour. We'd like to start you at $15 an hour. You know that's right in the middle of 12 to 18, right?
Yeah.
So, well, we'd like to start, they didn't ask you. They just said, okay, good, well, we'd like you, what do you say about $15 an hour? What's the number one rule of negotiation?
I always want more.
The number one rule of negotiation is they never offer you their highest, the last price.
Yeah.
They always offer you the starting price. So if he's offering you 15, what does that mean?
He just offered you more if they started 12 to 18.
No, he didn't start at 12. You did your research.
Oh,
You know
okay.
that the range is
12,
between
okay.
12 and 15. He offered you 15. What do you say?
What I have to do to make 20? What I have to do to make 20 an hour? That's what I'm saying.
So you say, well, I was thinking to start at 20 and get bonuses because based upon what the extra business I bring in. I was thinking 20 plus bonuses based on performance. And then what do? You stop talking. Why do you stop talking? Because there's a rule in negotiations that whoever talks first loses.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you more money than anyone else. So I'd like 20 plus bonuses. But you always have to do that. He says, well, I can't, the 18 is the highest I can go. Okay, well, what else can you do? I don't know. You say, well, when are people eligible for a raise? At 18, when are they eligible for a raise? What do you say? And you say, when are they eligible for a raise? He might say, well, after 90 days. And you say, okay, well, I'd like to be eligible for a raise within after my first 30 days. And you just go back and forth, and you don't have to worry, because if they like you, they're going to respect you for doing this, because it helps support your statement of, I'm going to make you more money than anyone else. Because who are you trying to make more money for right now?
The company.
No,
So,
yourself. Because you're representing yourself right now. Boy, when this guy's working for, if he's this tough when he's working for us, we're gonna make a lot of money off this guy. Okay? So, that's what we spend time with at Larson, is getting people to do this. The starting point is you don't have to do things that are just jobs. People end up hating their job, and they end up being dissatisfied with their life because they do things that they didn't really want to do, but it's better than some other things that they could have done. But it's not what they wanted to do when they were 7 years old. And if there's people that hire people to do that, why wouldn't you want this job? Right, DJ? If there's people that will pay you to ride your skateboard around, why would you take a job at 7-Eleven? Well, why would you? I'm not saying why wouldn't you.
oh, why would I?
I'm not saying would you. I'm saying why would you?
Pay the bills at home to make ends meet. While I'm doing what I do. Skate.
Hmm? Just 1 second.
Yeah, I'm glad we'll go back to it, yes.
Why would you settle for working at 7-Eleven if there are people that do this?
If there's people that's paying me to skate, I wouldn't settle for less.
You know, I can just feel the
If
rejection.
there's someone's paying me to do something that I love doing, I wouldn't settle for less. I don't have to.
Huh?
If someone's paying me to do something that I love to do, I wouldn't settle for less.
Okay, but before, when you came in here at the beginning, my kids are getting ready for school.
But I already started school already.
No, they're getting their final stuff done.
Oh, okay.
Crazy day. Okay, so but when you came in here, you weren't thinking about doing what you really want to do.
True.
Okay, so that's the reason people end up doing this instead of this, because they don't know that they can do this.
Yeah.
This is a lot more work. It's a lot more work to do this than to just find out who's hiring people and get a job and say, well, I need money today, so I'm going to just do this, and then I'll find out what I want to do.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people do, is they say, well, I'm desperate now, I've got to do this now, I'll do this later. Okay, that's a reasonable thing to say, but the problem is, if you don't go back and do this, you end up doing this because time goes really fast. Would you agree? The last 5 years go fast for you?
Yes.
Yeah. And the older you get, the faster it goes. So, the reason people end up working at places they don't want to work is they don't know any better. Or, that's the number one reason, or they're lazy. They say, okay, well, I'll deal with that tomorrow. And when does tomorrow come?
Tomorrow never comes.
Tomorrow never comes, that's right, exactly, that's right, you're in the center, right? So okay, so that's what we do at Larson. But we do one more thing. We focus on the future. Not current, not what's current. Focus on the future. And it's very important to focus on the future because it's going to be way different. So do you have a smartphone?
Nope.
Okay. Have you ever had one? Oops.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Rest in peace.
Huh?
My phone is broke.
Okay. So it's a money thing probably. Okay. Now, so do you have a smartphone or what? Smartphone? No, well, I know you don't now. Did you?
I did.
Okay. 10 years ago, what kind is that?
HTC Desire.
Okay, so it's an Android? Okay. 10 years ago, how many people had a smartphone?
Not many.
I know the exact number. I know the exact number.
0.
Exactly. 0. Nobody had a smartphone 10 years ago. Why? Why not?
They weren't.
Because they didn't exist.
Yeah.
There were Blackberries that were for texting. There were other phones, Nextel phones that had a walkie-talkie in them.
Yeah, that was T-Mobile.
The church.
Boost.
Yeah.
Boost Mobile.
Okay, there weren't smartphones.
No.
Okay, they didn't have apps like today. What's the expression that you hear, starting to hear a lot today? There's what? An app
For everything.
for that.
Oh, for that.
That's how people are starting to think. There's an app for that. Yeah, I had this idea, or blah, 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 blah. There's an app for that. And there's going to be more apps. They've just scratched the surface of all the possible apps. So when I was a kid, I grew up in California. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay.
But I grew up in California too.
What part?
Compton, California.
Okay. Where are you from?
Long Beach, California. Not too far from Compton.
Okay.
It's not-
So our other branch of our school is in Santa Fe Springs, which is near Norwalk,
Yeah.
if you know where that is. And we used to have an office in downtown Long Beach on, what is it, Pine Avenue or something?
Mhm.
Yeah, on Pine. I think 306 Pine. Big brick building. So when I grew up, there were no area codes.
No.
How did you know where you were at then? If you weren't an area code?
For my phone number,
That's it?
my phone number, how did I know? Well, back when I grew up, your phone number was a word and then the number.
Huh?
So when I was a kid, my phone number was Victor 65110.
When I was a kid, I don't.
Okay, so V is, so what they'd say is it's the first two letters. VI, so you look at the dial on your phone, okay, V is 8, I is 4. Then it was 8465110. But when I was a kid, somebody said, what's your phone number? I'd say Victor 65110. And then they brought in area codes, and it became 415. When I was a kid, there were no zip codes. You just mail it to the city, okay? There was no cable TV. People had these big antennas on the top of their houses, okay? When a jet would go by, people would come outside and say, hey, people would say, hey, there's an airplane out there. Nobody does that today, right? No microwaves, of course no cell phones, no computers, no Walmart. Sears was the biggest thing, but it's very small compared to Walmart. Very different world. Okay? No seat belts.
I would have loved driving back then.
Everybody was very common to drink and drive.
Yeah.
Not a big deal. People didn't get in wrecks. There was no such thing as NAD. There was no rating for movies. Okay, it was just a movie.
So if it was R-rated.
There was no R rating.
Okay, so if a movie that's R-rated now would just be
a movie.
Yeah.
Or we would just say, don't take your kids to see this movie.
And your parents know which movies to let you go see. with
And there
or
weren't that
without your
many
friends.
movies. It's not like now where there's, 20,000 movies released every week.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay?
They still ask you for your ID if you go to radar movies.
No, they don't ask you for your ID.
I got asked.
Okay, well, you're supposed to be 17 unless you're accompanied by a parent or an adult.
They're like,
an
how
adult.
old are you? I was like 18. No, you're not.
Okay, well, they just didn't want to do their job, so that wasn't somebody who cared about saving their company money. Anyway, so all of those changes, nobody on the moon, all of those changes, let's say all of those changes would fit into a box like that. All of those things that happen. Big things. I got my first cell phone in 1985, maybe 1984. And it was in a briefcase. Okay, it was in a briefcase because the battery was so big. It looked like a phone. It had a cord on it.
Yeah, the phone was on the outside.
Yeah.
The receiver was on the outside.
Yeah. So all of those changes from say 1960 to 2016, let's just say 2015.
Too much sweat.
45 years. Are going to be equal to the changes in the next 10 years. Okay?
2026.
Okay, the same number of changes, the same big different changes are going to be there. And at our school, we focus on 4 of them: drones, self-driving cars,
Yeah, I was trying to figure out
Hyperloop, games, and VR. Okay? What's the most popular game right now?
Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah.
Okay? In the first 3 weeks, it went from 0 people in the whole world playing it to 30 million.
Yeah. Let's track.
And there's going to be other games that follow along after that. Okay? So we're not going to talk about that today, but games are going to get way better. So how does Pokemon work? I know it's Pokemon.
I don't know.
No,
I don't play. It's a trap.
Me neither.
Well, you should try it. Get a phone or find somebody who has a phone. You're walking around with your phone, and it has. Do you have your camera turned on?
Yeah, I've seen what it looks like. It looks like a different. Like everything is green. Like the floor is green, but you can see like Pokemon near you, and when it's near you, you go hunt it, and that's when
Right.
everything in the back.
But it's got the streets on it, so you have a map of wherever you are,
Yeah.
and it shows you, oh, they're over there, and you walk over there, and you get closer, and they're there. Or you turn on your camera. It takes a lot of battery. You turn on your camera, and they're superimposed over here. So if there was a Pokemon right there, and I had the camera on, I would see you and the Pokemon right there. Okay? In the future, that's going to get better. It's not going to be there's a Pokemon right there. It's going to be pick up the bottle of Coke and put it over here. Yeah, so people are going to be like this and drop it in the whatever, the spaceship. Okay? That's what's going to be in the future.
I like the glasses with the
Okay, so that's the VR.
Okay.
Okay, but this will be, Coca-Cola would pay, right? Somebody would pay. Pick up the Coke and give it to Pokemon. That's advertising. People will pay big bucks. So that's big. We're not going to talk about that today. What's the Hyperloop? So you should write this down. Make sure you put a date on your notes. Don't throw your notes away, because you're going to want to show your grandchildren. Hyperloop is the high-speed magnetic train that's in a tube, a vacuum tube. So why would it be in a vacuum tube? What's the point?
Faster. That's why it's not Hyperloop, it says faster.
Okay, well, why does it being how does being in a tube make it faster?
Because I like the outside factors, like the wind from the outside is just one central.
Wind resistance.
Yeah, wind resistance. Wear and tear from like the sun, rain, doesn't have that.
Okay, so those probably other things are considerations too. But if you're out, let's say you're driving down the freeway, right, in a car, you put the window down, you put your arm out the window, what do you feel?
Air.
Yeah, you feel the air pressure, right? What if you do this with your hand?
You feel.
What happens?
You feel the air like.
Your hand goes up,
Yeah.
right? And you go like this, right? Your arm goes like this, just for making
Yeah.
little changes, right? So part of the thing is with the Hyperloop, you can't go 700 miles an hour in regular air because the slightest little irregularity in the air is not, you just can't do it.
You're not gonna make it.
Okay.
That's what basically.
Airplanes are flying it up, up there in the air, but what happens when they hit wind pockets and things like that? There's turbulence, right? What happens when they hit turbulence?
The plane shakes.
The plane shakes a lot, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, would it work if you're on a train in a track and you hit something like that?
Mhm.
Train's going to crash. It can't go that fast unless it's in a tube where there's no air pressure. So let's say you've got your hand out the window, right? And there's air pressure. What happens when you bring it inside? You don't feel anything.
No.
So they put it in a tube and they suck as much of the air out of the tube as they can. So now it's just pushing air. And the less air there is to push, the more fuel efficient it is, right? Because it's not harder to push that air. There's not a lot of air to push. And what do you think they do with the air that you are pushing in front of your train? They just let it go out? Okay, what they do with that air is your train is pushing the air this way. They have it going the other direction, pushing the other train that way. Okay, now what happens with your train? What happens is you're pushing the air behind you. What's being created in front of you? What's being created behind you?
Air.
A vacuum.
Well, it's sucking it up.
Huh?
Sucking your air out.
Yeah, it's pulling the air, it's sucking the air out. It won't be no air, but it becomes very efficient. And you're using the air you're pushing to push the train going the other direction. So it turns out that with the Hyperloop, you'll be able to go from LA to here in about half an hour.
On a train.
You'll be able to go from here to San Francisco in an hour.
That's what they was trying to do.
Huh?
That's what they was trying to do.
This-
With the
If
bullet
they make
train.
that.
No, that train isn't an hour. That's not a half-hour train. That's just a train for people.
Yeah, the Metrolink is just like.
Not the that was on a.
Yeah, that's a party train. Yeah, that's a train on the train tracks.
No, I'm saying they had showed another, I don't know if it was a documentary or, anything, but they showed another train that they was trying to do, like a bullet train.
Okay.
Like you said, from San
Okay,
Francisco
so
to.
2 months
like
ago,
Underwater and all that?
no, 2 months ago, they tested the Hyperloop here in North
Okay,
Las
so I
Vegas.
think that's what it was
And this
called.
thing went from 0 to 116 miles an hour in 1.1 seconds. It's magnetic.
Dang.
That's a lot.
You are not. Oh, that's crazy.
Okay, so when this thing is traveling half the distance it's accelerating, You know, it just doesn't shoot you out like you're in a cannon. It starts out and just keeps going faster, 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 so you don't really notice it. Able to have drinks and do whatever. Because it's in a vacuum, so there's not a lot of resistance. You don't really know. And then the other half of the distance is slowing down. The other half.
Yeah, because if you cut, it's not going to stop at. It's not going to go from 116 to 0 in that time. It's going to take a while.
Right. Yeah.
It's gonna
So, what? And it runs on batteries. So at this part, what's happening with the battery?
It's using the most power.
It's discharging, is what they say. It's discharging the battery. What's happening here?
It's not using as much power.
It's decelerating.
Yeah.
You're coasting. You have the brakes on.
Yeah.
So what's that energy being converted to here? It's recharging the battery.
Oh.
So it's a very fuel efficient thing. And again, the air that you're pushing is being recycled to push the train going the other direction. So the cost, so you're going to go from LA to here in 30 minutes. And it's going to cost equal to less than driving. The gas if you're driving will cost you less money than if you decided to drive. So who's going to want to drive to LA?
Nobody.
Or from LA, who's going to want to drive here?
Nobody.
Take 4 hours,
Nobody.
all that traffic.
Nobody.
It's going to cost you more money unless you have like 10 people in your car.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
It's
the
going
only way
to.
I go to California.
Huh?
That's the only way people I go. We go like in a group.
Yeah, because of the cost, right?
Yeah.
But now, if your choice is, well, we can spend 4 hours and it'll cost us $50 in gas, or we can spend 30 minutes and it's going to cost us $50, what are we going to do?
It's 50 hours.
We're going to do it in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
If you want to drive, good luck. I'll see you when you get there.
So people will be able to live here and work in
Work
San
here.
Francisco.
Yeah. That's true.
Now, what is it going to look like when you're sitting inside of the Hyperloop and you're looking out towards the outside?
Everything going by so fast.
You're not gonna
No,
be
you're in a
able to see it.
tube, first of all.
Oh,
It's
you're
gonna
in a
be
tube.
just. It's gonna be a blur because you're going so fast.
Well, you're in a tube.
You're not
Oh, you're not gonna
see
see anything. It's gonna be black.
Okay, but it's not going to be black.
Probably like a.
Because
You
it's
just
not going to
don't
have
see light.
windows. It's not going to have windows.
But
It's
you-
going to have LCD displays.
Oh, well, yeah. That's true.
That's kind of weird.
Okay.
We said it's like
You're going to be in a virtual reality environment.
Like the VR, like you were saying.
Well,
But
it'll be
if
VR,
they're on
but
the tube.
you look at all of the windows where the windows are, and they're
Yeah.
screens, and they're all synchronized. So you could be flying in outer space, Star Trek.
No.
Yeah.
Like
Or
Running Man, like that, how they did.
Or- under the ocean.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Okay, and you see, it looks like you're under the ocean. You're not. You're traveling 700 miles an hour, but it looks like
You should just barely just-
you're going like this.
Yeah.
Okay, or one of the guys at our school, he said, my favorite would be, I'm in a stagecoach in the wild, wild west being chased by Indians. How cool would that be? Or I'm in a classroom and Albert Einstein's teaching. Okay? That's what's going to be happening in the next 10 years. And you know what? So some people said, well, it's going to be too expensive to build this. It turns out that the cost of the airplanes that fly back and forth from LA to here cost more than it would cost to build this tunnel or tube. And part of it they're going to tunnel. Because when you build a tunnel, what are you doing? You're creating what? A tube.
Yeah, too.
You're creating a tube if you build a tunnel. So instead of having a tunnel above the a tube above the ground near the freeway, it's now underground. Okay, so
The only
that,
thing I would be scared about is how in California, like in LA area, they have a lot of earthquakes. How is that gonna work? If you're in this tube and just so happens, God forbid, an earthquake happens, what are you gonna do?
well, you
I
have
know
to-
you're going that fast, but like, wouldn't it just feel like
Well,
you feel the
probably,
same thing?
probably what will happen, okay, so first of all, let's say you're in an airplane and the engine breaks down.
Oh, you gonna feel you gonna feel it to slow down a little bit, then you gonna
Well,
drop.
things go wrong with airplanes too, right? They crash, right? Not a lot, but they do crash. So you can't say, well, it's okay to die in an airplane crash, but you can't die in a Hyperloop crash.
Or the
Okay, but there'll be a lot less because it's on magnets. It's a magnet. So when the magnets go on, it lifts up and it's not riding on anything, but it has wheels. So if the engines fail, what do you think happens to the Hyperloop?
Connect to the magnet.
It just stops and goes on the rail. Yeah. It just rolls until it stops. And it might be an abrupt, whoa, boy, that was scary.
And then next when you're
Okay.
like sitting in somebody's tube for about 3-4 hours.
Okay. Now, they're of course going to design it so it doesn't go over a fault.
Oh yeah.
Okay. But you know, you can assume that if there's an earthquake that's that bad that buildings in LA are falling down, you can't say, well, I'm not going to take the Hyperloop because if there's an earthquake, a bad enough earthquake, we're gonna die. Well, other people are gonna die too, driving cars. You know, one of the things that's bad with cars, driving your car down the freeway, there's an earthquake, and what happens to the bridge?
It falls.
Yeah, and you die.
Yeah.
So you have to be willing to accept that's gonna happen. But we're not really here to talk about the Hyperloop. But that's gonna change life. Drones, what I'm going to say about drones is, if there was a drone outside right now,
I've seen one before.
okay, you remember. If there was a drone outside right now, we opened that window and there was a drone out there, and I said, hey, there's a drone. Everybody would look and would want to see it, right?
Yeah.
What if we opened the window and I looked up and I said, hey, there's an airplane up there? Be like, yeah, there's always airplanes up there. Within about 5 years, there's going to be drones. You're always going to be able to see drones. In fact, there'll be like a line in the sky of a drone highway. What are drones going to be doing?
But they said they're making drones to deliver transplants like hearts or kidneys and stuff like that.
So what else are drones going to do?
Do mails, deliver.
I'm gonna refer to one
UPS
class I'm
packages.
at, I think it's me, like for like businesses, instead of having delivery people, which that'll cost
Yeah.
for gas, you can have some delivered within a couple of minutes
So-
with the drone.
Yeah, so in the future, your choice is going to be, oh, you bought something? Okay, we can have it delivered tomorrow, FedEx, $12. Okay, or drone, $3 in 30 minutes.
$3.
Drone, yeah.
Where does this get delivered to?
What?
That's
FedEx. Where do they deliver the FedEx?
Probably at your door, right?
Your house or work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Where does this get delivered?
To you.
Yeah, to this,
Yeah.
or wherever whatever address you specify. So what are some businesses that are going to start for drones that don't exist today that are going to exist in 5 years? So you said delivering medical organs.
Yeah.
Okay, so think simpler.
We're gonna have drones for everything.
Okay,
Food,
like what?
Dry cleaning, getting your water.
Maybe
fast
not
food,
water.
takeout. Well, not water.
Eventually water, but water's heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some light things?
Like,
You could start a business today.
Well,
Meals, dry cleaning.
Okay, dry cleaning is kind of tough because you don't want it to get wrinkled. You're not going to have this jacket flying across the sky.
Pizza.
Okay, pizza.
I want you to drone me a pizza and like.
A hamburger,
Okay.
French fry,
Okay.
McDonald's gonna have drones.
combos.
Okay, so we have guys at the school, we work on projects, and the project they're working on is donut delivery by drone.
Oh yeah, donuts are light.
Yeah.
And last week, there was some guys from Metro here. Were either of you here when Metro was here?
Yeah.
Some young officers? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked to them about
You
this.
wasn't here.
I talked to them about this, about drone delivery. And what do you think they said?
They would love it.
Why?
Then they won't have to stop.
Yeah, they don't even have, they can sit in their car on their
And just be
stakeout.
like, here.
That's what they said.
Yeah.
Or
Bad if I see
crime
something.
scene.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, you see on TV where there's a crime scene, all these cops are around.
We're just gonna have a drone just like.
The drone will deliver the donuts.
Yeah.
Let's get some
Oh,
donuts
that's-
and coffee.
Cause they do be there.
You have there's an app for that. You go to the app.
So, I'm
Okay, what kind of donuts do you, okay, you want blueberry, what?
Kind of
Bum,
coffee
bum,
you
bum,
want.
bum.
I
Yeah.
want
Boom.
The biggest coffee.
There will be companies that start out saying, we'll deliver your donuts in 15 minutes. And it's only gonna cost you 25% more than if you went yourself. Which means it's actually gonna cost what?
More.
Less.
Oh, yeah.
How much does a dozen donuts cost?
Probably like $10, $15.
Let's say it's 10 bucks. I think it's actually more like 60 cents a donut. I think it's like 8 bucks. If you were gonna pay $8 for donuts and you had to go get them, how often would you be willing to pay $10 and get them delivered to you in 15 minutes?
More time than I wanna go get them.
Huh?
More time than I wanna go get them.
Yeah, because
So
you
that's
go get them, you
$2
say, well,
extra.
it's still gonna cost me gas, it's
Yeah.
gonna tear, I gotta
Gotta
deal
get
with
up,
people.
gotta go, to
Yeah,
deal with
it's-
traffic.
so you're gonna
So
convince
to keep
yourself.
To keep from having to deal with traffic, getting up, getting dressed, drones is gonna always win.
It's gonna take you about 32 seconds to figure out it's cheaper to do this than this.
Yeah.
Because even though somebody might look at it as $8 and then 10,
But it's
when
getting
you
dropped
look at
off
it,
to you and
it's
you
getting
don't have
dropped
to
off
go
to
and
you,
get it.
You're gonna spend more than $2 on gas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The
time, wear and tear in your
Yeah,
car.
so it's
Cause
like-
you're gonna have to stop and get something to drink. Well, when you put gas in your car, you gotta get something to drink.
Okay, now,
It's hot,
when
especially
would you
in
pay,
Vegas.
when would you, so let's think like attorneys, when would you pay $8 instead of 10?
Only time I'll pay $8 instead of 10 is if I'm close.
You're driving.
Yeah, if I'm driving, I'm
You're
close,
driving
then
down
I'm
the,
gonna
oh,
get
hey,
it.
there's a donut shop right there.
Yeah, I'll pull in.
Okay, otherwise, you're not,
No.
okay? So, drones are gonna change everything. How about pharmacies delivering medicine to people?
They don't
Not
like
narcotics, but just everything else, like to old people,
it. Yeah,
okay?
they don't like it.
These are businesses you can start right now. Somebody's gonna do it. We are having our students start writing business plans to start these businesses. We're at a very unique time in history that because of these 4 technologies, everything is gonna be different, but nobody has an advantage. Nobody has already done drones or any of these things. Okay, so let's talk about the big one that we're going to talk about this week, which is self-driving cars, which DJ says I'll never do.
Mhm.
Okay, now, how many miles a month is the average car driven?
A month?
Yeah,
I
I would say around
30 miles.
a month?
Well,
A mile a day?
I'm sorry,
somewhere
I'm
around
sorry.
1,000.
Yeah.
Somewhere about like
Okay.
1,000 miles.
So it's about 1,000 miles. So when you see commercials for cars and you want to lease your car, you get about 12,000 miles a year. Now, so that's a month. What is that per day? What's 1,000 divided by 30?
That would be about a day. It's about
How much is that?
333. Yeah, it's somewhere around
Okay.
there. 30? Or is it 33 or 30?
I mean 30.
Yeah, about 30, 300 actually.
Right?
No, 33.
Okay,
No.
33 miles a day. How many hours do you think that your car is driven per day?
Like in total.
How many hours does it take to go 33 miles?
Not long, but not too short.
Okay, so let's
Say
just say it's
2.5
2 hours.
hours.
Let's
Oh,
just
okay.
say 2 hours.
To go 33 miles?
That the average car is driven about 2 hours a day.
Yeah. Oh,
How many hours in a day?
24.
Okay. So how many hours is your car just sitting around?
22 hours.
22 hours. So let's say you just had a Hyundai. And your car payment is $300 a month. What if I said, Marjorie, I want to pay you $300 a month plus gas and maintenance. $300 a month to use your car when you're not using it.
Go ahead.
What do you say?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I pay you $300, how much does it cost you for your car? Your payment is $300, I'm paying you $300.
600.
No,
Zero.
Oh, zero.
zero. Okay, if you stop to pay for your insurance.
Yeah.
But it's zero. What do you do with that extra $300?
Wait, extra how much more?
I'm giving you $300 to use your car when you're not using it. What do you do with it?
I think I was probably with some insurance on the car.
Well, you already
Yeah,
have
we have
car
Car
insurance.
insurance.
Yeah, we have insurance.
I don't know, I think what I'll do with a car will be different. I'll
I'll
probably
put-
tin
I'll put mine
windows.
Huh?
speakers. I'll probably get some tin windows and some speakers in my car.
You're getting $300 a month.
Oh, 300 bucks, I'm saving that.
Yeah. That's
I'm
You
saving.
think you're gonna save it?
Well,
Okay, well, you're
I'll
not.
try to
save half.
save and
You're not.
pay bills.
What?
Okay, you might you might get your fingernails done again, or people spend money. But,
Yeah,
so
pay bills.
some people just spend it.
I save 100 of that 300.
Okay, well, let's say you do. Now, some people say, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm not gonna keep my Hyundai. I'm gonna get a BMW.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you
That costs $600 a month. And you're gonna pay me $300. So how much is it costing me more per month for a car?
No,
Nothing.
No,
It's not gonna cost me anything more.
no, because,
But I'm now driving a BMW.
yeah, and it's costing me everything.
Hmm?
It's gonna cost me more because my insurance is,
Okay.
it's
But I'm not
$300
actually
that you're
gonna,
giving me.
but you're not actually gonna get $300. You're gonna get $350 because it's a nicer car than the Hyundai.
Yeah.
So you now are gonna pay for the extra cost of your insurance. How are you gonna feel driving around in the
That's
BMW?
what I said.
I'm gonna feel fancy.
Yeah. Okay.
Fancy.
What are you gonna use my car for? Right, wouldn't that be a question?
Yeah.
It might be, well, we have this thing like Uber. We don't have drivers anymore. We don't own cars. We just lease cars from people. And, you know, there's this old person's home. They need to take people to the store and the doctor and haircuts and beauty salon and all that. So we're just going to be driving people to that.
Back and forth.
Now, if I'm paying you $300 a month, how much is it costing me per day? What's 300 divided by 30? It's costing me $10 a day. Plus gas. Say it's costing me actually $20 a day. I mean, $30 a day. And I can do 6 trips with that car. How much is it costing me per trip? $5. Could I charge $15 or $20? Maybe. Maybe I can. The killer app, what does that mean? What's a killer app?
Something that has a lot of downloads.
Yeah, so it's the big thing.
Yeah.
Supposedly, the big thing for self-driving cars is going to be people going out to restaurants, dinner, clubs at night. Because what are they worried about?
Drunk.
Not getting drunk. They want to get drunk. What are they worried about?
The cars.
Getting pulled over by the cops.
Yeah. Well, so how would that work? So if you have a self-driving car and you're drunk, like way over the blood levels, are you riding
be
under
okay.
that influence?
That will probably be okay.
And how would
That will
would
be
you be in
okay.
the front seat or would you be in the passenger seat? How,
Well, you'd have to be so you're not behind the wheel. So you're in the back
If
seat.
it's a self-driving car,
Yeah,
you would want to be up there behind the wheel anyway. You would want to be on the passenger in the back seat, especially if you're drinking.
Okay,
I'll
so
be in the back seat fast.
here's what it turns out. The liquor companies did a study and they found out if the average person bought one more drink when they went out, that's $31 billion a year in revenue in alcohol sales. So who would your customer be? If you're going to start a company to take people back and forth for drinking, who would your customer be? No, the restaurant. You go get a deal with the restaurant. So when people make reservations, or they go online, or they want to learn about it, there's this little app that says, do you want us to pick you up? And restaurants will say, free, because you're going to do what?
Spend money at the restaurant.
You're going to spend more money at the restaurant. So what do you need to do to start a company to drive people to restaurants?
You have cars.
Okay, you need to have people rent you their car. But what else do you need?
You need to have that killer app.
Okay, what else do you need?
You
Car
can
gonna be self-driving?
You need cars. You need the app. What else do you need?
You need to get the word out about your
Advertising.
business, your advertisements, yeah.
Okay, but what else do you need? Okay, so here's a thing in life to know. Write this down. Don't leave home without it. And what does that say?
Nothing happens until something is sold.
Nothing happens until something is sold. That's a fact. Nothing happens until something is sold. Do you like selling, Marjorie?
Oh,
Huh?
no.
Okay,
I'm
because
not
it
gonna
sounded
say
like
that.
no.
No, I'm not gonna say that.
Okay, how about you, DJ?
Yep,
Okay,
I like it.
What's the one thing we're always selling?
Food.
Nope.
Phones.
Nope. We're always selling. We're always selling ourselves. Because people are always judging us and evaluating us. Do I believe you? Do I trust you? Do I like you? Do I want to hire you? Do I want to buy something from you? Nothing happens until something's sold. You're always selling yourself. In our self-driving car business that we're talking about, the number one thing we need is sales. Do you want to build an app before you have a customer? No. You don't. Why?
Don't know if you're gonna use it.
Because the customer might say, well, we want this. We don't like the color, we don't like the this, we don't like, wouldn't it be better to go to the customer and say, here's what I'm gonna do, I've got a guy who's gonna create an app, here's a sample of the app, doesn't work, let's figure out how to do it for what you want. Right? Cars, do we need cars to get a customer? No, he just needs to believe we're gonna get cars. Okay, the number one thing we need is sales. So that means to get started, we have to have enough to be able to go to a restaurant and say, hey, I can make you more money. How? Because if your average is 4 people in a party, and they get times one more drink is 4 drinks, that's say $8, that's $32, minus the cost of the drink is, say, let's come up with a big number, $8, $24, you pay me 10, you just made $14. And off that one table. Let's change it. You're going to pay me $14. You just made an extra 10. How many parties of 4 at your restaurant tonight?
A lot.
Let's say
20.
Let's say 50. 30.
Well, 50 times 4 is 200. Let's say it's 25. Okay, that's $250 a night times 30. It's $7,500 a month times 12 is about $90,000 a year. I'm going to make you, how about if I make you an extra $100,000 a year and having customers that are a lot more happy. All you have to do is say yes. Okay, how much are you making? $14 times 6, you're making $86. Because the car was used 6 times and it's costing you $30. Okay. You're making, let's just say it's 36. You're making $50. Okay, you're making $1,500 a month. Is that good? Not really.
No.
But what if you have 10 cars? Okay, that's 15,000. How's that?
That's good.
Okay. Are you familiar with the restaurant, a place called Dottie's?
Yeah.
How many Dottie's are there?
Place. There's too many.
How many?
Too many.
Okay, let's say there's 50.
Yeah.
Let's say there's 50. Okay, and you just had them as your one client. You had one car for every Dottie's. And now you're making 1,500 times 50 is $75,000 a month. How's that?
That's good business.
That's almost $1 million a year.
That's good
One
business.
customer. Somebody else's cars. That's a business anybody can start. Not anybody, but that's a business that anybody in this room can start. Okay? The drone business, the numbers are just the same.
I would want to do that.
Huh?
I would want to have a drone company.
Okay.
Drop stuff off people. But
You don't want to have a self-driving car company?
No.
Okay. Okay, so
I'm
we
terrified to even go next to
we
one.
are out of time, everyone. Thank you. I'm going to shut this off and then we can wrap it up.
I got a sign.